Quiet on set. Picture is up. All right, roll sound.
Rolling.
Roll cameras.
Cam's rolling.
And 3, 2.
Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome to Hank's Think Tank. It's the beginning of the week, and it looks like it's going to be a good week. We've got a good man in here today, and his name is Willie Kendrick Jr., and he's running for East Montgomery County Improvement District Board Position 8, and his opponent is Leonard Rogers. We're going to be having a forum on April the 19th at the EMCID Senior Center, and that's at Bull Salas Park. And doors are going to swing open about 6 o'clock. We're going to party hard until 7, and then we're going to poke and prod these guys and ask them some questions and let them make their statements so you can be educated voters. That's the important part. So come to the forum if you can. It's not a black tie affair, nothing like that. We're going to have Cokes, tea, water, stuff like that. So there'll be some refreshments, and I think it'll be an interesting thing for the average person to go to and get a chance to meet face-to-face all these guys that are running for EMCID. Look forward to having you there. Mr. Kendrick, welcome to the show. How are you, man?
I'm good. Thank you, sir, for having me.
Yeah, no problem. I'm glad we finally got you in. So let's dive right into these questions and see if we can get somewhere with it.
All right.
So what made you decide to run for EMCID?
Well, I've been a community member here since 1972 when my family moved out here. So we've been out here for a long, long time. I've been involved in my community in various different ways. I've been a EMS first responder in my early days. Currently involved in the community through my job with the sheriff's office. Some of the programs that we have are our Boots on the Ground program. Involved in my church, local church. All of our kids grew up here in East Montgomery County and went to New Caney and Splendor schools and graduated from here. So this is just another opportunity for me to learn something new and to continue to be involved in my community.
Cool. Sounds great. So when you were EMS guy, what, just ambulance, or did you work for the fire department, or what was it?
Just the EMS side.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I guess you got to see everything back then.
See a little bit of everything.
That had to be fun. Now you're a police officer.
Yes, sir.
Sheriff's department.
Correct.
So you still get to see it all.
Still get to see it all.
Huh. Man, is it getting worse out here?
It's progressively moving north from the south.
Really?
So,
What's your area of patrol?
I'm specifically assigned to the East Montgomery County area in the New Caney, out of the New Caney office.
Okay.
So I'm
You're
live
around
out here and work out here.
Well, there you go. Eyes on the community.
Absolutely.
Yeah, hand on the pulse.
Yes, sir.
I like it. That's great. All right, so that kind of explains my next question, too. I mean, I was going to ask what uniquely qualifies you for this position. If you have anything else, you can add to it. But that sounds like quite a resume so far.
Because I've been here so long, I grew up with a lot of people that are out here. I know a lot of the people that are out here. Met a lot more people along the way. I hope that they will listen to me and feel that they can trust me, because I'm going to take a common sense approach to this. This is a new aspect for me, a new adventure for me. So there's a lot to learn, but I don't want to squander anybody's choice to support me and vote for me, and have a sense of responsibility to them as well.
Okay. Fantastic. All right, so we're going to shift gears a little bit. We're going to talk about small business. There are a lot of small businesses in this area. There's a bunch. And some of them aren't quite so apparent. Like mine, for instance, we have no signage, no commercial frontage or anything like that, but we do own a viable business. And so what ideas do you have regarding established small businesses that are here already, where economic development is concerned? Do you have any program ideas for small businesses or anything you might want to take with you when you get elected?
That's a good question. I think that there could be a lot more public education as far as what EMCID does and the benefits that it provides to the citizens of East Montgomery County. Advertisement to small businesses like yourself and all the others that are out there. they may need something to take their business to the next level and not know where to get it or not have
Right.
the funding for it. And they don't know that they can come to EMCID and apply for stuff like that. A community survey. Let the people tell them what they want in this area as far as small businesses, that and target those small businesses and recruit those small businesses. Set up an information or recruiting booth at all of the different events that are in the community. Like they have another one coming up here next week, the Easter egg
Right.
extravaganza. But something that will educate the public a little bit more to know that there are options and that they can.
That's a great idea. And the community survey thing is something I hadn't thought of. That's awesome.
Yeah. Also thought about a small business directory. There's tons of small businesses out here, but just by some of the names of them, you don't know what they do or what services they offer.
Right.
Put a directory together of some kind that can be posted on the EMCID website that details what type of business it is and what services they offer.
Yeah.
For the general public.
Yeah. And even EMCID could create another social media page for something like that. So that'd be good.
Right.
Yeah. Those are great ideas, man. All right. Presently, there aren't any term limits for board members. And we do have a few board members that have been on the board since inception. So, and you know, when I first came up with this question, I was one of those term limit guys. I was like, after you've been on a couple of terms, you need to be getting off. But I've kind of reconsidered that a little bit, and I see it as kind of a double-edged sword because there's such a big learning curve, I think, because of the complexities of all of the things that EMCID does, that term limits may kind of hurt more than help, depending. But what are your thoughts, man? What do you think about term limits?
I certainly understand both sides of the argument, just like you said. There is a huge learning curve to a newcomer like myself. To learn the process, and that takes time, and just depends on how fast you learn the process.
Right.
But I do agree with term limits, because at some point, some of the longer terms, they tend to get burnt out sometimes.
Right.
And I would hope that at least for me, that I would know when it's time for me to say, hey, let somebody else in here.
Right.
And continue this. I mean, yeah, but I understand there are projects that you might get started with and come to the end of your term, then you don't get a chance to finish those projects. But that just gives you a little bit of incentive to keep being involved even after the fact.
Sure. Yeah, because that knowledge is still there, so it can
Correct.
definitely be tapped into. And then I still have the same thought about new eyes, new ideas, you know. So sure, I can see that. All right. So grants. Presently, there's a $5,000 cap on grants. And it depends on who you talk to where that's actually being adhered to or not. But there is a $5,000 cap on grants as far as policy is concerned by EMCID. Do you think this cap should be increased, or should grant requests be considered on an individual basis?
I think 5,000 is a good starting point. But there are those that seem to think that $5,000 is not a whole lot of money, especially in today's times.
Yeah.
$5,000 doesn't do a whole lot.
Right. Yeah, 6 2x4s and a piece of plywood. You got $5,000 right there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So my personal opinion is they need to be considered on an individual basis.
Okay.
Some people might not even need that 5,000, but some may need 10 or 15. So I think they need to be considered on an individual basis. I'm not opposed. I don't know that if they have a stipulation to where you can get multiple grants, but I'm open to them being able to apply for additional grants as long as they can provide the documentation and show how the first grant was used and how it improved their circumstances or their business.
Okay.
I'm certainly
Yeah, that makes sense.
open to additional grants.
Yeah, that's logical. Okay. Do you see any areas where EMCID could make a more positive impact?
Advertisement. We touched on this earlier. Just to bring more small businesses to the area, more transparency. I know that people are always going to have the perception that you're trying to hide something if there's not enough transparency. And a lot of times when you don't have that transparency, people automatically have the perception that what you're trying to hide is
right,
either unethical, immoral, or even illegal to in some respects. But I think that they could just advertise a little bit more as far as what their business proceedings are.
Okay.
That way, everybody knows what's going on in the community and how the money's being spent.
Okay. Great. All right. And since we talked about transparency, it leads right into the next question. Some of EMCID's business requires them to maintain a certain level of confidentiality to thwart competition. What are your thoughts on that balance between transparency and confidentiality, and keeping in mind that some of their projects are extended projects that, they may be a year or two out, and they may be courting businesses that are in other areas that are considering going to New Caney or Conroe or somewhere else. So they would need a certain level of confidentiality. And then there may even be extenuating circumstances that, in their agreements. So, I mean, and I've wondered myself how I would try to manage balancing that, because I'd still want to let the community know, hey, we're working on X project. We can't really say exactly who we're dealing with, but what are your thoughts on that?
And that's key right there. Again, secrecy gives people the perception that you have something to hide. I certainly understand that in order to be competitive, that you have to do that sometimes. But at least come out and say, this is what we're working on. We can't give you any details, but this is what we're working on. I mean, in my line of work, we deal with confidential information on a daily basis. So I understand that. But I mean, it all goes back to transparency again, and release it as quickly as you can. Once you get to that point in the development of the project.
Okay. All right. So it's election day, and I haven't made a decision yet. And I'm on my way to the polls right now, and I've decided to give you a call. What are you going to say to that person to get them to swing your way and cast that ballot for you?
I'm the same average working class guy, just like yourself and many others. I'm not a business owner, but I want to make sure that my tax dollars are spent accordingly to benefit me and my family, my community. I want everybody to be successful, whether it's individuals or small businesses. This is not a paid position. I have no incentive here. I'm not a business owner. I'm not a politician. But I want to provide a fresh set of eyes and learn all of this process, and learn how it operates, and make sure that our tax dollars are spent appropriately.
Okay, cool. So how can voters learn a little bit more about you? You have a campaign website and all that yet?
That's coming in the near future.
Okay.
I'll have a Facebook site, hopefully by the end of the week. I'm out on the streets all the time. If you see me, you recognize me, come up, say hey, we'll shake hands.
Okay.
I'll be at events,
Okay.
community events, like the next one that's coming up on Saturday, the Easter egg hunt for the community. Okay. They're going to have craft booths set up and stuff like that too. So I'll be out there. My daughter actually has a booth that we're going to be set up out there.
Great.
I'll be out there, and you can look for me out there on the streets.
There you go. Well, Mr. Kendrick, I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you for having me.
So, yeah, I think this was an enlightening conversation and gave the public an opportunity to get to know who you are if they didn't. And, yeah, some good answers and some really good ideas, too. So, yeah, something I'm going to be thinking about a little bit more. Well, there you have it, guys. Willie Kendrick Jr., and he's running for East Montgomery County Improvement District Board, Position 8. So look for him on the ballot and, go meet him at the forum and ask him a few questions and make sure that those ideas line up with what you believe in. If they do, cast the ballot and make it happen. So we look forward to seeing you guys soon in person. I'm Hank Vatt. This is Hank's Think Tank, and we're out.